Oh, I think it's harder on you than it's been on any generation because there's so much pressure in real life and extended families and social media of what you should be doing. You should be doing this, you should be doing that. Your clock is ticking. You should be blah, 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 and you should be able to do it all at once. I'm going to talk to you about that now and my experience of that and what you do about it. Do you really have to do it all? Let's talk. Some of what guided me, and I think is a useful way to think about it, is that it's not just what you want, it's what the world is giving you in the moment that sets the agenda for how you're going to live. And that means I had a mentor once who would go to India and sit with his guru in silence for a month. Really profound man. Every once in a while, he'd say to me, walk through the door that's open. Really? Walk through the door that's open? What is that? And then I started thinking about it more and more and thought, oh, he's telling me, don't walk up to the door and bang your head on it till it bleeds. There is a door that's open. So let's say right now you have a great job. You love your job, feel like your job is going to lead you to the place you want to go. You feel like you don't have enough time to put into a relationship. That's okay. There's not a clock ticking that you have to have a relationship right now. If you're into your job and it's sucking up all your power in your 20s, it's okay. You're not always going to have jobs you love. You're not always going to have fabulous opportunities. You're going to have jobs that are boring. You're going to have jobs you don't like. If that's where you are, that's cool. And your granny in real life may say to you, you need Dahlia, darling, you need to think about your baby. Yeah, I mean, I have said that. But don't listen to us when we do that. That's just our role. They don't know, right? It's like you can say, okay, I hear you. We're going to forget in the next 10 minutes. Don't stress about it. So conversely, I've seen this one too. You're in your 20s. You're with the person of your dreams. You met your person in grade school. You've always known you're going to be together forever. And you've always known that your priority is the relationship and having a big family. You want a big family and you want to be together right now. Even people in their 20s, I know, have said we want to get married, which is something a lot of young people are delaying, and we want to start our family right now. Great. That's an important decision. If you're starting your family right now, somebody is going to have to prioritize family. There is no tyrant like a brand new baby. There just isn't. Brand new baby is always gonna win. The baby is always gonna win. It's gonna be around the clock. You're gonna miss things like, how do I go to the bathroom with the baby? Is it possible to take a shower with a small baby who's screaming their bloody head off? Not so much. So if your priority is big family and starting early, blessings on you. And don't beat yourself up about not being in graduate school or having a job at the same time. You don't need to do that. I am doing a bunch of shorts right now and have been doing a lot of research on people who did things much later in life. They suddenly went back to school much later in life, or they pursued their love of dance much later in life. There's time. You don't have to do everything in your 20s. So what are things that need to be priorities in your 20s? There are some things where in your 20s is kind of a critical decade, and you should think about making these things a priority if that's where your gift is or that's your personal priority. If you are a gifted athlete, you need your 20s to build your athletic career, right? That's when you're going to be at your prime. So that's it. That's your 20s, and that's your 20s until you quit. And good for you for knowing that. Same token, mathematics. We know that people with strong mathematical abilities are like ball players. They do their best work when they're young. If your genius is mathematics, go for it as long as you've got it. You know, while all those neurons are firing and your frontal lobe is powerful, do your mathematics and do it while you're young. You know, that is time sensitive and important to do. And the third one I would add, based on my experience, is travel. It's really a good idea to travel when you're young. Travel when you get out of high school. Travel when you get out of college. Travel when you can be in a youth hostel. Travel when you have buddies and you can figure out how to share a pizza and live on that. It gets both easier and harder to travel with time. It's easier because you may have more financial resources. It's harder because you have more commitment. Suddenly you've got a family you don't want to leave behind. And then after that, in the next 10 minutes, you're where I am, where people are telling you the way for you to travel is to be on a cruise ship that allows for flushable diapers. Okay. I'm okay with that, except that I'm really glad I traveled when I was young. For me, and you need to think about for you, are you going to have regrets if you don't travel? You don't need luxury travel when you're your age. So that's one I would really seriously consider taking some time off to do. So here's a final comment because I lost track of the numbers, which is mine, right? As a granny, not to remember my numbers because I smushed a couple of things together. Because there are a gazillion YouTube videos out there now about how multitasking doesn't work. The brain doesn't multitask. And we're learning that we can do one thing at a time and switch back and forth quickly, but we can't really multitask. And we're all getting informed about that. What that means, if you take a step back from that, the truth is you can't have more than one priority at once. There is only one priority. And if you don't have one priority, then you're going to end up with a really jammed schedule, and you're going to end up with that feeling of not doing anything well. If you try to cram it all in, it's not going to get done the way you want to get it done. Back in the day, I used to do a lot of strategy work, planning strategy with CEOs of all kinds of companies. And I would work with them on what is your strategy. And always the most brutal part was they'd have 5 things they wanted to get done. And I would let them write it down however they want. And you can go ahead and write down what are the things you want to get done. Write down 5 if you want. Now, my question for you is, what are you going to say no to? Oh, you've written down 5 things that are your priority, but you don't have a priority unless they're things you're saying no. They may be things you're saying no for now. No, I want to do that later. It may be, no, I thought that was really important, but it's not as important as this thing. The real work that I'm encouraging you to do is to think about what is your single priority right now. And then everything else falls into place. I know that different people have different priorities. I have talked to folks whose single top priority above their family is serving their God, their Lord. That's great. As long as you have one. If your top priority is, getting ready to be the person who does the genomic sequencing that leads to the cure for cancer, great. If your number one priority is you were a teen mom or you are a teen mom and your priority is getting through toilet training, that's also cool. One priority leads to having it all because you have one thing you want, one thing that matters. You can have that. And then just like you can get away from multitasking, you can move through different priorities over the course of your life, and you can come back to one later on. So the answer to everything crashing in on you is you can have it all, not all at once. I know that hurts. I'm sorry. I feel you. I'm sharing with you something that I learned the hard way.